Good morning, everybody. This is To The Point with Tanya Tyler, an Outdoor Trail magazine. Today we have a true legend on the show. Over $2 million in winnings, qualifying 26 times, including this year for the Classic, 10 major wins, and 2 Angler of the Year titles. Welcome to the show, Gary Klein.
Well, thank you very much. I sure appreciate you having me.
Gary, now you've been at this for quite some time. You still know how to catch them. How much has changed in tournament fishing since you began over 30 years ago?
Well, I tell you, it's really changed a lot. Probably the biggest change that I've really noticed with the competitors, there's so much information available today for a young angler that's wanting to get started in this sport. Techniques, lures, type of reservoirs that we compete on. There's so much history now. You can go on the internet and, gosh, you can basically look up just about anything you need. But the one thing that the web doesn't do is an angler must learn from his own experiences. It doesn't allow the angler to go out and spend time on the water and experience.
That's right. You can't get time on the water from a computer. Talking to Gary Klein on the phone, giving us some great fishing tips. Let's just go to the listeners and talk what we love, bass fishing. Richard from Tennessee wants to know, he knows you're a student of fishing, always eager to learn new techniques. What technique have you picked up over the last year?
Probably the latest thing that I've been working on really hard are swim baits. You know, large lures, basically originated in Southern California for the trout-fed Floridas. I'm continuously learning on throwing swim baits. The greatest thing that I've learned is that fishing big baits has taught me so much more about the regular artificial lures that I grew up fishing. It's actually improved my angling at all levels. So swim baits, throwing swim baits.
Talking to Gary Klein, a legend on the phone right now with us. Cody from Texas is a huge fan and wants to know if you have time to fish any lakes in Texas during the off season. And if so, which ones are your favorite and why?
Well, I tell you, I'm going to go to a lake like Amstead, Falcon, Choke Canyon, Lake Fork, Allen Henry. I'm going to go to a lake that has a tremendous population of large quality fish, and I know that I can really get a lot of bites during the course of the day. Because every time I'm fishing, I'm always trying to learn a new technique, try to improve my skills, because I'm truly a student of the sport. I've never considered myself a teacher. I'm still learning, I'm still evolving, and that's just a competitive spirit in me. But I'm going to go to one of our great Texas lakes where I know that I can catch a teenager on any cast, and I'm truly addicted to the sport of bass fishing.
Well, let's talk about how you keep your motivation. John from North Carolina wants to know, sometimes it's tough when tournament fishing, he's struggling, he's not finding the fish, he's not getting on it. How do you, Gary Klein, keep your motivation during tough times during tournaments?
Well, to me, it's a personal challenge. My tournament fishing is really not any different than my practice or just my fun fishing. I fish at pretty much the same level all the way.
Aaron from Florida wants to know how you decide which color blades to use on your spinner baits.
Well, I like to try to think outside of the box and fish a little bit different than most anglers. But I still fish a lot of the same stuff that most of the guys do, the nickels and the golds. However, I like to fish a lot of the Indiana and the Colorado blades versus the willow leaf blades. Again, it's a different blade configuration. As far as colors, I think that really becomes a personal preference for an angler. If they want to put, scale patterns on the blades, or if they like a hammered finish or painted blades. But pretty much what I like to do as a rule of thumb when it comes to spinnerbait, in clear water, I know I'm fishing for sight-feeding fish. They're visual feeders. I have the tendency to use more of the real pretty shad-colored skirts and the willow leaf blades. If I'm fishing off-colored water, and I know the fish are a lateral line feeding fish because they have no vision because of the dirty water, I like to use large blades that are going to displace a lot of water and more of the darker colors. That's kind of how I choose.
Joe from Missouri is having a hard time locating bigger fish during these months, the fall months. Any tips for him?
Well, I tell you, fall is one of the great times of the year. It's one of my favorite times of the year to fish because really there's low traffic on the reservoirs, not really a lot of watercrafts, and everybody's hunting. This is a very hard time of the year because what happens is the thermocline dissipates, it goes away, usually late October, November, depending on what area of the country you are, and a lot of your big fish suspend. And I think if I was really going to give somebody some advice for catching the really big tanks, as we call them, they should really focus on suspended fish in the fall time.
Getting some great fishing tips. Gary Klein on the phone. This is when I have to say goodbye, but I want to say thank you so much for spending some time with us. You're truly a legend. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, and if there's anything I can do to ever help your listeners, again, I'd be more than happy to.
To the Point with Tanya Tyler, an Outdoor Trail magazine.